episode of Quilt with the Stars is brought to you by Baby Lock, for the love of sewing, and Koala Cabinets, sewing furniture custom built in America. Hello, welcome to Quilt with the Stars. I'm Mary Fons, and I'm joined by Amanda Murphy of Amanda Murphy Designs. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're surrounded by these lovely creations of yours, Amanda. I feel like we're in sort of this winter wonderland over here in holiday time.
We did a lot of Christmas quilts this year.
You did. Amanda is a designer of fabric and a designer of quilts, a pattern writer, and an author, a book writer. And you have a background in what? What did you go to school for?
Industrial design, of all things. I majored in industrial design. I went to Carnegie Mellon University, and I did it because I liked art and math. And I ended up working in multimedia because that's where the jobs were at the time. So I did a lot of graphic design, a lot of Photoshop and Illustrator work. I worked in Alexandria, Virginia, and then in New York City as an art director. And so I got a lot of experience doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, layouts and, you know, I mean, a pattern to me is, in quilts, that's a marriage of art and math.
Yeah, then the math comes back into it all of a sudden, you know, when you're doing quilt design and writing instructions. But I enjoy that, the technical aspect too, and I really enjoy going back and forth between. The days are never similar, you know, because there's so many different types of tasks.
Absolutely. So a typical day for you, you would spend your day either maybe writing a pattern, like these. Tell me about some of the things that you would do during the day.
Okay, in the morning, I would, because my kids are doing schoolwork, I am answering emails or just sewing from patterns that I have already written. Sort of testing out those patterns. I hardly ever write when people are around. I just am not that good.
Yeah, it takes a lot of focus. Yeah.
So I will do some tasks like, for instance, getting all the blocks ready. Things that I can be interrupted during and it won't make a difference. Then once kids go off to activities, then I would write patterns. I would design fabric. Sometimes I'll go for a week and just design fabrics.
Okay, so you kind of get into a mode where you're inspired, you're drawing. Are you using watercolor? Are you using colored pencil?
I actually have a tablet, and I do most of my design on the tablet, although I sketch first. Then I put the sketch underneath, and I'm basically drawing on top of my sketches. So I do a lot of things like that when I'm drawing, and I do because I work in an area of the house where everyone is all the time. It can be very chaotic, and because of that, on the table, I might have the tablet and the computer and be working on fabric design, or I might have the sewing machine. So I tend to kind of do a few days of one thing and a few days of the other. Just change the studio space to reflect whatever I happen to be doing. So this is Bonjour Mon Ami, and it's coming out in later this month, so April of 2013.
Yeah, great.
And this is Holiday Bouquet, which interestingly is a very traditional looking line, but it was inspired at the same time the book Modern Holiday was. You have some very, and these are just strike-offs, so I don't have yardage yet, but you have some very large holiday ornaments that are meant to be appliqued down. So I do a lot of things like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, they really do work together because you may need to be drawing and then you may need to be writing about what you just drew. You know, things like that. And I thought something was really interesting. You said that you write your patterns and you design first and then you sew from those patterns so that you know you're being really accurate as you're writing.
Yes, that's the only way I can proof. I am not naturally the best of proofers because if I go through later, it's very hard for me to find the errors because I sort of remember what I was doing. But if I write first and then sew from those directions, I can usually catch a lot of things.
Usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
And fabric designing is what you did first. And who do you design for now? And what are you doing? Tell me about a little bit what you have in front of you too.
Okay. Blend Fabrics is who I design for now. They're a subsidiary of Anna Griffin. And the pattern designs are in my own name under Amanda Murphy Design. I market those myself. And then also I've gotten involved in embroidery. I sewed everything for the book on a Bernina. And what I was doing some test prints from motifs from that line, Bella, over there. And they ended up picking this up, Brewer picked this up to become an embroidery collection.
Gorgeous.
my tests weren't as good as their files. They know what they're doing.
They sure do.
I was all over the place. But what basically we did, we took the leaves from one of those prints with all those floral leaves, and we separated them out and did different embroideries for each one. So my next focus for the next market is patterns that use embroidery, not necessarily in a very dense way, but as part of the quilt. So either you can take a feature print or you can take embroidery and kind of rope that in. A lot of modern quilters tend to be really high tech.
Yes,
and,
it's true.
So I wanted to come out with some patterns.
So tell me, they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they look like they could be pins or jewelry or something. They're really nice. As you're talking about, modern and traditional, I have said before, and I continue to believe that you marry the two very well. Recently in the quilt world, over the past few years, we've seen sort of a new style emerge, a new paradigm. And tell me what you think. What do you love about quilting, and what never changes, whether you're a traditional quilter or a modern quilter? What do you love?
I love the feel of the fabric.
Yeah.
I mean, doing something tactile is just incredible, especially because we live in a world where everything's on a computer screen.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love quilters and learning new techniques. Quilters are very generous with their time, almost unfailingly, and that's great. I love experimenting with color, and I think you and I talked before. Yeah. You might not paint your whole house in a color that might be a little daring, but you'll certainly try to quilt with it.
Yes.
And so for me, those are like little experiments. Each quilt has its own personality, and I love trying to push the envelope and trying to use colors I don't even necessarily like and find different ways and different ways to combine them.
Yeah, and different ways to love them, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't love purple, but I've been challenging myself to use it more in my quilts, and I find, you've said before, quilters are visual people. We respond to visual cues, and we enjoy color, we enjoy fabric. I'm finding that there are certain shades of purple that I adore. It's just certain shades that I don't. Like, maybe we talked about orange is not your favorite color, but there may be shades of it that you
how much I have in my fabric.
It's true, there is. There's a lot. So you learn about yourself as a person almost, the more quilts you make.
Yes, and it's so exciting. The modern and traditional worlds seem to be merging, and there's something about, traditional techniques. I mean, they're just, when you go to quilt shows, it's just overwhelming what people have done. And then you have the modern movement, which is focusing on very graphic looks. And to see those two come together, I think it's in a really exciting time.
It is, because the newer quilters, or the modern aesthetic, is sort of about breaking the rules, sort of about trying new things, forging ahead in different ways that might feel foreign to the traditional quilter. But the things that we can share with each other. I mean, the huge back catalog of blocks, the churn dash, this is my soapbox. I mean, I just love all those old blocks, and I think updated and put into new ways and new scales, it's just the whole world's open to us.
It was so funny. I was in Williamsburg, Virginia, where we went vacationing for a week, and they have restored a lot of the buildings there to their original paint colors. And I kept seeing that emerald Pantone green. Yeah. It just proves there's nothing new under the sun, right?
There's nothing new under the sun. Yeah, the new color for, what is it, 2013?
Yes,
2014
like that.
Is that emerald green. Last year it was mango, whatever, So looking ahead, what is next for you? I know you have books coming out, but not just in terms of projects. What's a quilt goal you have? Like, what's something you want to do before you're done here?
I want to learn as many techniques as possible.
Great.
Because I think that things come back. You think, oh, I'll never use this. But then they come back years later. As I said, industrial design, technical writing, I never thought I'd use it. Right. So I think the trick is getting as many things in your toolbox as possible.
Yes.
And I also really enjoy working with new quilters and trying to get them to try new things. Try new things. Yes. Because that's where you really have joy. And quilting's about joy.
It is.
And finding what you like to do and the fabrics you like and the things you like to experiment with. It's just very special, I think.
And I think those new things are where you learn. You're inspired. That's what inspires you.
Yes.
And it's been inspiring meeting you and talking to you.
Thank you so much. It's been great to be here.
Total pleasure. Thanks, Amanda Murphy. And check out our website. And thanks for watching Quilt with the Stars. We will see you next time on the show. This episode of Quilt with the Stars is brought to you by Baby Lock, for the love of sewing. and Koala Cabinets, sewing furniture custom built in America.